Hey Leadership Nation, Christopher Hart here with Transforming Lives Coaching and Consulting, coming to you with another Lead Strong Leadership Development video whereby we look to help leaders become stronger leaders so that they can be more influential and more impactful in their own lives as well as in their organizations and the world around them. And so today's video is titled The Question That Will Change the Trajectory of Your Business. And I say that because when I first learned of this question and kind of the concept behind it, it changed how I viewed certain businesses and really how I grew my my model of 6 levels of leadership. So let me kind of give you a little bit of backstory. I attended Tony Robbins' Business Mastery Seminar, and quite frankly, it's probably one of the best business seminars that are out there today. And Tony asked a question. And he said, what business are you in? The question that we have at the top of the board today. And he said, the problem with most businesses where they hit a ceiling of achievement is they don't understand what business they're in or what business they really should be in. And now Tony, interestingly enough, kind of surveyed the crowd of how many people in the crowd were actually real estate agents. And probably about a third of the crowd, there was about 3,000 people in the room at the time. About a third of the crowd actually woo, hoot and hollered, you know what real estate agents do. And he said, okay, great. He said, let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you this question. I'm just going to ask you to spit it out. He goes, what business are you in? And they all go, the real estate business. And he goes, that's your problem. He goes, that right there is the ceiling of achievement in your business. He's like, because you don't sell real estate. Real estate sells itself. You have to figure out what business you're in. Okay. And so whatever business, organization, family, whatever, this one's kind of geared towards organizations and businesses, because I think that businesses struggle with business leaders struggle with what business they're in at that phase of growth of their business. And because they don't understand that, they don't know where to really create their focus of attention, and kind of what becomes their critical and vital tasks that we've spoken on before. So what I want to talk to you about today is there's 5 levels of, not 5 levels, excuse me. There's 5 types of businesses that we need to be focused on to answer the question what business your organization or your leadership is controlling or leading at that specific phase of growth. And I believe when you understand these 5 and you also plug into our 6th level of leadership model, you'll understand how the two coincide, and you'll understand what business you're in, what business you're supposed to be in at all times. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you guys along the way is, if you like any of this, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the comment section. Allow us to engage you. Don't just sit back and listen. This is actually an opportunity that we love to take the opportunity to coach you. If you have a question on this, put it in the comments. If you like what you're seeing, thumbs up, hearts, do whatever you feel you need to do. But feel free to engage as we love to engage our community. But the first one, the very foundational business that I believe all businesses need to focus on first is what I like to call sales/lead generation. Okay. Now, many of you in the real estate business, you hear this all the time. Lead gen, lead gen, lead gen. You got to be lead generating, blah, blah, blah. And you kind of hear it ad nauseum. But I believe if you're selling any type of service or if you're trading any type of service or product, the very foundation of your organization is sales, because without sales, you don't exist. Okay. Now, if you're a charitable organization, you may not be selling, but you still need to be generating new leads of interest of people that are either going to attend your organization, your church, or contribute, donate, whatever the case may be. Okay, so that's why we say sales/lead generation. But if you're a sales business, your very foundation of the business that you're in, if you're a startup, if you're looking to start a new business, if you're a solopreneur, if you're that, gunslinging real estate agent where you're representing buyers, you're representing sellers, you're also the marketing person, you're the admin person because you're just getting started. Lead generation is the business that you're in. You're not in the business of selling real estate. Real estate will sell itself. You're not in the business of selling your product. If your product is that good, it will sell itself. You're not in the business of selling your service. If your service is that good, it will sell itself. Your whole job is to generate new business, new interest, to plug people into either your service or product so that it can sell itself. Okay? You see, you don't actually take a house around and then go and bring it to people and, define the house. You actually provide a service and you're selling your service. Well, excuse me, you're not selling your service, but you're offering your service or you're offering a product if you actually have a product, like if you're selling cell phones or accessories to cell phones or whatever. But you present your service, but your whole job, the business that you're in, is to generate new leads of people that you can present your service or your product to. And the thing is, each one of these levels, you want to look at the element of mastery. Mastery is doing it at such a high level, time on task, over time, meeting goals and exceeding goals and moving to the next level of production in this area, that it becomes unconscious for you. You just do it because it's a habit. So when you have mastered the lead generation, then you're going to have a need, right? And the transition from each one of these levels is going to be based off of the need that's generated from the previous level's mastery. So the problem is you're going to generate so many new leads that if your service and product is that good, then it's going to create what we call a people problem. Okay? You're going to need people. You're going to need people either in manufacturing, you're going to need people in administration, you're going to need other salespeople, etc. So the next business that we find ourselves in is we find ourselves in the people business. Now, the thing about the people business, some people like to say, you're in the talent business. Well, talent's just a label, right? It's a label of how we assess and evaluate people. So here's the reality. You're in the people business. And, the thing I don't like about creating labels like A players, talent, or whatever is, who are we to define who's good or bad, right or wrong? That's God's job. Your job with people is to identify the right people, right? Or excuse me, not so much the right people, but the right match. Okay, I've talked on this extensively, where what creates the right match per se is that people are a match to the role that they're going to fill, the culture of your organization, and your leadership or the leadership of those that they're going to be under. If you understand what your expectations for each one of those three and you find someone that can fulfill those expectations, you found the right match. The thing is, once you find them, then you need to train them. Okay, so really what it becomes is being in the people business is about a strategic approach of identifying what the right match for the role, organization, and your leadership is, and then how do we go out and effectively find people that we believe could be those types of matches, right? How do we prospect for them? How do we market for them? And then once we start to get leads for those people, what's the funnel by which, we want to open our funnel wide, but at the end, we want to drip out the right match people. Well, you have to have a funnel of assessment and evaluation that causes you to realize, yep, let's continue forward with this person. Nope, this person has been identified as not being a match to one of our elements of assessment. So it really becomes about identifying first, and then going out and seeking them, and then once we generate interest or leads on them, to have an assessment process that we can put them through, only to drip out that we find that, yay, this person's the right match. Well, guess what? We can't just take that person, throw them into our organization and do trial by fire. We actually have to train them. So then you have to have an internal training process that eventually becomes repeatable and duplicatable. Otherwise, you'll always be the person training and you'll never really fulfill moving to the next level of business of being in the people business. Now, here's the thing. If you get in the people business, then you've systematized. Every time we move to the next business level, per se, we systematize the previous one so that it continues to operate. So we either systematize it or we replace ourselves with like kind and have those people continue to do it. So in essence, when you get into the people business, it's because you're getting people to actually generate new leads for you and continue to introduce your service and product. Well, when you do that, you're going to have a number of people. Why? Because you're in the people business. And hopefully these are quote unquote the right people. Well, guess what? When that happens and you master that at a high level, the next thing it's going to call for, a need, is leadership. Okay? So now you're in the leadership business, which means influence. How do we influence these people? How do we become the vehicle to their success? How do we be the resource for them to be resourceful so that we can help them get what they want when they want it? Thereby, when they do that and they achieve their success, we get our success. Okay? So you have to go become a person that is in the leadership business while you have your people continuing to find new leads to introduce your service or your product to the marketplace. And when you do that at a high level, what you're going to find is that, remember, we don't abandon this. We now have to replace ourselves. So in essence, when you step up here and you have enough people, then that are doing your sales, it's going to be time for you to elevate to the next level, but you have to replace yourself here as a leader. So what does that mean? One or a multitude of these people need to elevate up to be a leader so that you can then go be in the leadership development business. Okay? You need to develop leaders. You need to replicate, and I've done a video on this about leadership by succession. You need to create an internal leadership development opportunity within your organization that if these are really the right people for doing this, they're going to master that they're going to elevate to be a leader so that you can go up and be in the leadership development business so that your organization is developing leaders, it possesses leaders, it has the right match of people for the organization role and the leadership team, and you're still doing sales at a really high level. Now, the problem is when you do this at a high level, when you master leadership development at a high level, what's going to happen is you're going to have other people in your organization step up and to become leaders to lead the people in the sales and whatever other departments are in your organization. Well, from there, once you get into the leadership development, what I like to call is which is even the pinnacle of our six levels of leadership model, is legacy. Okay? The number one problem that all leaders have is, how does my organization continue to do the things that we hold it accountable to do at a high level in my absence? You see, that when you develop leaders and when you're in the leadership development business, you do that at a high level, you have the subordinate leaders, you have the right people that are matches to the role organization in your leadership team, and you're doing sales at a really high level, you have to figure out how do you elevate to where you can step out of the business, you have other people running it as maybe a CEO, COOs, etc., because you develop those people internally. But now you can either leave and go do mission trips, extended, vacations, or you can go create other opportunities of organizations. And the thing that you have to keep in mind is, how does this organization effectively run should you pass on? Look at Apple, for instance, with Steve Jobs. Clearly, it's not the same organization today. But here's what I want to tell you about legacy. You built your business from a passion. At some point, it was a seed that you cultivated. But really what it was about was, it was a passion that was meeting the ability to fund your life. Because that's really what business is all about, is how to create the financial resources to have the life that we desire. That if you actually walk through this trajectory of the types of businesses you need to be in for your focal point of leadership, you will have built a massive organization. And this is the most valuable asset of your organization. It's no longer your product or your service, it's your leaders. And if if you've built this organization with the hopes that when you pass on and you die, that this organization can continue to, feed and fund your family in your absence. Well, guess what? Other leaders of businesses are going to recognize that. And because they can't figure this leadership development piece out, or attracting the right people that can become leaders, or even hiring and affording leaders, they're going to start pillaging your leaders out of your organization. Or they're going to go after a better product. And one of the two things that's going to happen is either this, your very foundation, will disappear, or the piece that holds it all together, the leadership, will disappear. And when the leadership disappears, we don't care how great your product is, your business is going to collapse. It's going to fall in on itself. Okay? Especially if you've built this massive organization. So here's what I'm here to challenge you with today. The question I would ask you, based off of where you're at in your business, based off of its vision, its mission, its plans, its everything, taking everything into consideration, what business are you in? And then the question I really want you to think about is, once you identify what business are you currently operating in, and what business is your business actually calling you to be in, the real question becomes is two things. What business am I in, and what business do I need to be in? Okay, because some people will actually find themselves needing to be in the leadership business, where they're growing to be that leader for the people that they hired, and yet they're still operating down here trying to sling sales, because they haven't been able to effectively replace themselves and find the right people, because they cannot elevate up to being that leader who can go out and find the right people. Or maybe you're still sitting down here at the foundation of sales and lead generation, and you realize that you need to then now elevate up to go find more people that can take sales to the next level for you, and that can continue that journey so that you can then elevate into the people business. Or maybe you're trying to operate up here and you really need to be down here. That's up for you. If you need help with that, feel free to reach out to me at chris@transforminglivescoaching.com. I'd be glad to help you out. Ask the questions on the comment section, whether you're watching this live right now or on our YouTube channel on replay. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications for Facebook Live. But my question for you is, what business are you in? And what business do you need to be in? And here's the thing, it's not universal to any industry that every point you should be at this. It's something you must assess and evaluate for yourself. I see far too many business leaders that really need to be in the people business, and knowing that their sales are systematized. They've got people that are doing a good enough amount of sales, but they need to go find the right match. Maybe they don't have the right match for the organization or the role or whatever the case may be, but they really need to dig into being in the people business, because going to that level will take their business to an exponential level. Or maybe you're playing in the people business and you have enough people that are doing a lot of great stuff, but you've reached your span and control. You have too many people and not enough leaders. And so you're not being the leader to their success. And maybe that's why you're having a lot of churn or turnover in your organization. Or quite frankly, maybe you are a leader and you have all these right people, but you have no aspect or resources or systems in place to develop these right people into opportunities. I'll tell you right now, if you don't do that, these people are going to leave you. Because if these are the right people for you, they're also the right people for someone else. And when someone else gives them that opportunity, that's where they're going. You see it happen all the time in the business world. You see it happen in the real estate industry. It is truth. So leaders, here's what I'll challenge you. Answer the question today, what business are you in? And then also answer the question, what business do you need to be in? And if I can help you with that, hit me up, chris@transforminglivescoaching.com, or in the comments section. We'd be happy to help you continue your leadership journey to be a stronger leader, more influential, and thus more impactful in your business, your life, and your organizations. Thank you for joining me today. Remember one thing, God loves you, so do I. Lead strong. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.